please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Village of Washingtonville Board of Trustees regular meeting. Today is October 19th. Just a few announcements. Election day for the town of Blooming Grove is Tuesday, November 2nd. Polling site location is 18 Halleck Drive, right here in the Village of Washingtonville. Public hearing date for the water, sewer, and facility rate is November 1, 7:15. So that's a work session. We'll have our work session, then we'll go into the public hearing. Public hearing date for New York cannabis law, also November 1st, 2021. That meeting will start at 7:30, or right after the water sewer meeting. The New York State Department of Transportation has started the design phase on a project here in the village to repair sidewalk and ADA drop curbing along Route 94 and Route 208. Project will begin spring or summer of 2022. That's all I have for the announcements. Anybody have anything?
Just a thought, since you brought up New York State, any update on the Ahern 94 intersection?
No, that's New York Rising, no.
Mhm.
I know they weren't going to start it until the culvert was made and here, then they were going to store it at Lasser Park. So that I don't know if it's down there. Good question though, because I think it would have saved a lot of flooding, especially in 94. And we probably could have lost 94. Would you say?
It was getting close.
It was getting close.
Wait, when you say lost 94, what do you mean lost 94?
Like
Underwater.
Wow.
The flooding.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I mean, it was really coming over it was impressive,
Wow.
really. But something that you don't want to be stuck in. All right, old business, Christmas parade sponsored by the Blooming Grove Chamber of Commerce and the Village of Washingtonville.
Did you mention Washingtonville this weekend?
Oh, it's something new, yeah.
The 23rd, rain date of the 30th from 2 to 6 p.m. at Burn Allen Park. And there'll be a trunk or treat in the Burn Allen parking lot, hosted by Hudson Valley Hot Rods.
That's this
Yes.
weekend?
Yep. This Saturday.
The month is flying by.
Yeah, it is.
I had to look that up really quick. The Christmas parade, I finally got the paperwork back regarding the public assembly permit. I spoke to our attorney and we did need a license agreement between the village and the Chamber of Commerce, Blooming Grove Chamber of Commerce, in order to host the parade in the village. Their president, Kathy Stiganda, signed the agreement and sent it back. And just hoping to get a vote tonight on the date of the parade, which is December 4th, from 6 to about 7:30 p.m. It starts at Burn Allen Park and will continue the traditional route Ahern up to 94 and continue past the high school.
What time, 6:30?
6 o'clock.
Did the chief ever approve it?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, sure. Why not?
We got to send it
Thanks.
back. Okay. New business. Police- Police dispatcher is, oh yes, we do have the program. So, someone want to make a motion on the Christmas parade, December 4th at 6 p.m., starting at Burn Allen Park, going through the Village of Washingtonville to the center of Washingtonville. That's where the Santa gets off the truck, and the participants continue down to the high school where they
Usually
they
go
turn
straight,
around
or you can
and
just
they go.
wait until the whole parade passes.
I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Trustee Kolar,
Yes.
trustee Sampson,
Yes.
trustee Kolar,
Yes.
deputy mayor Lovato,
Yes.
and Mayor Bucko. Yes, so 5-0. You want to contact them?
Yes.
Okay, new business, police dispatcher contract, we all had the, we all looked at it. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll move it. Or so moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call, trustee Kolar,
Yes.
trustee Sampson,
Yes.
trustee Kolar,
Yes.
deputy mayor Lovato,
Yes.
Mayor Bucko. Okay, proposed local law, Village of Washingtonville altering vehicles. We could wait for the chief so we could put this on hold. He said he would be running late tonight, but there is another, let's go back to the announcement. Today, we received a $50,000 grant. So the police department could buy an all-terrain vehicle. Paperwork still has to follow it. We met with Assemblyman Schmidt and his office at the police station today, and there was a press release that went out tonight saying that. So I thank Assemblyman, yeah, and there's a picture. I look good in it. I look a little, maybe I should turn more sideways. Okay, this is going down quickly, huh? So I thank Assemblyman Schmidt for awarding the Village of Washingtonville Police Department with a $50,000 all-terrain vehicle. We have, like I just mentioned, proposed local law. Chief was looking at, I believe it was Blooming Grove, that has a local law on the misuse of all-terrain vehicles on town roads. We'd like to extend that to village roads. As soon as he gets here, like I said, he told me he would be running a little late. If not, we can continue the conversation, the discussion on November 1, our work session. I also have on here public hearing date, but I also mentioned that for water sewer facility rate, November 1, 7:15 public hearing. If the public hearing is started November 1 and closed November 1, it would be effective in the fourth quarter of our water sewer facility. Even if it goes into December, I think it will still be done prior to the fourth quarter. So the third quarter bills are being processed right now. They should be going out, I want to say the end of next week. Going to further down, public hearing date for the New York cannabis law, again, November 1. Everyone here has that law, everyone's in agreement. And what this is really saying that there's no sale allowed of cannabis in the Village of Washingtonville.
Did we ever set a date from the last meeting for the fire hydrants to update our code?
I haven't heard anything back from, but we could also do that November 1. To update, I think it's
Because you had redlined it.
211,
so-
yes,
Yeah, chapter 297.
2 names, okay, that the only people could use it, DPW, JCO, and of course, the fire department. So if you want to set that too for November 1?
Mhm.
Okay.
I have a question, wait a second.
Yes,
The water sewer, when we close that on November 1st, if we close it, yeah, it's automatically goes into become the new rates.
yes.
I thought that she was gonna give us some information on how it was gonna affect the average homeowner. It was some numbers she was looking into that she didn't
She
have.
was
that-
waiting for numbers from you.
We got numbers to her,
Okay,
okay? She said she needed more numbers.
Okay.
I think they're working on what they call a point system,
okay.
all right?
I just wanna have an idea, like what,
Yeah.
You know,
we'll look at it.
what-
Yeah,
what the basic is, what if you're, you know, a overuser or a super overuser,
Right.
what the difference is gonna be.
so I will have that information, hopefully. I resent really what I sent the last time, because everything was on there. So maybe she was misreading it, or
Okay.
whatever, but whatever information that they need. And she'll do a presentation again on November 1.
Oh, she will, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's important for everyone's budget.
Yeah,
what
you know,
everything's gonna pay. So fire hydrant, November 1 also, public hearing. Is there, no, the local, local law for the other, short and long term. I've started the rental registry. I'll keep you updated as we move forward with it. I think it's very important that the village adopt the rental registry, so we know who's living in the homes that are here, who's renters, who's owners, and, well, we'll move forward with it.
mhm.
Did we set an annual fee for that? For the,
I think it was in there for 150 or 250,
was it?
I think so. I don't have it in front of me, I don't really remember. If not, we have to adopt.
Yeah, because I remember the line being in there, but I don't remember the dollar.
Yeah. And
You could be wrong.
yeah.
You have it.
Anybody have
I mean, we just adopted November 1st, if there isn't
Yeah.
one.
Just, okay, so whatever, if it's not in there, let's come up with a dollar amount.
Per unit, yeah. Like I said, if it's a multi-unit apartment, then it's per unit.
Yes.
Because I know the industry that I'm in, we do that, we pay per unit every year.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Some is our size $50 a unit, some are a lot higher. So if it's a 200-unit building, multiply that number, and that's what the landlord has to pay every year.
That's for inspections, fire inspections and so forth. Okay. Anybody else want to add something to new business that came up after this was printed? Okay, zoning board, planning board update, trustee Sampson?
All right, so for the month of September 2021, there were 34 building permits issued, 4 violations issued, 11 municipal searches completed, and 14 fire and safety inspections that were completed. And that's our summary for September.
They're busy.
Very, very busy.
Okay, public comment on agenda items?
I would like to say in
Just-
regards to,
Speak,
sorry,
your name and address.
sorry, Susan Wolski, 24 South Street, Village of Washingtonville. When you have the public hearing on the, well, when you discuss the all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, make sure please to include the dirt bikes.
Yes, they are,
Well,
I
it's a
spoke to
different
the, yeah.
vehicle, it's ATV and a dirt bike are 2 different vehicles.
No, I spoke to the chief on exact question
It's in there.
on that. It's in, yeah.
It's in there.
Uh,
All the different things you're thinking about is all listed in there.
Just not electric
In
scooters, because it's not
I would include those too.
a,
Anything that can go more than 7 miles per hour.
Over your bike, right?
Is
7
this
to
dirt
10 miles
bikes,
an
road
hour.
bikes, trail bikes?
so you're not talking about me when I run.
No,
All right,
Snowmobiles, golf carts, it's got everything.
okay.
Yeah, it's a big list.
Yeah.
okay, I'm just saying because
No,
I know
okay.
what I deal with on South Street at 5:30 in the morning.
Okay. Anybody else in the back?
They
had a fight.
If they go, we could do what they do in Loudoun County with, bring the FBI in for these board meetings. Domestic terrorists.
They probably could use that a few years ago here.
Yeah.
Public comments, non-agenda items.
Susan Wolski, 24 South Street, smile at the camera.
Wave to the camera.
Couple questions. When does our cable contract end with Spectrum? The service sucks. Anybody who's on Spectrum in the village, you will constantly hear that the service sucks.
We'll go with, it's not good.
I don't have to be as nice as you do. It's terrible.
There you
How's
go.
that?
You see?
I can amend my language when necessary.
It's a franchise agreement. I know there was talk several years ago with Frontier. They never followed through on their end. What's the other one?
Verizon Fios?
Fios is not
Fios
here, we don't have the
isn't
cable
interested
here.
in coming in here, so.
I'm just wondering, when is it up and will the village be?
I believe it's calendar year, but I
So,
can get that information.
Be talking to them about upgrading their lines into the area so the service is better? So, another question, I don't even know if this is for the board or not for the board, but I'll put it out there anyway. You have a lot of home-based businesses here that sell food to public. If you look all over Facebook, this one does cookies, this one does cakes. Are those kitchens regulated? So if somebody's advertising and their kitchen doesn't have Board of Health approval and they're selling goods, first of all, the state and county are losing out on taxes, number one, which also affects the tax base everywhere. And my bigger concern is that the public is being sold food out of kitchens that are not inspected by the Board of Health.
Good
Is
point.
that a Board of Health issue?
Yeah, it's a question from the Board of Health.
Board
That's a
of
good
Health.
point.
But I'm just saying, does the village have, I don't know if that's a village question or not, I'm putting it out there.
And it's a customer. I ain't eating unless I see your kitchen.
Well, personally, me, and it's nothing against these people who do this, I want everybody to exceed, I understand what it's like to be a small business. I also understand food is highly regulated, and it's a very dangerous if it's not handled properly.
Sure.
So, the other thing is that I have asked before for a police officer on the corner of North Street and 208 at high traffic times,
North Street 94.
94.
I know there is one present in the morning.
In the afternoon, it's
And it's not every day.
after the crossing guard has gone home.
Yeah.
It is every man from the south, and now I'm seeing an increase in jaywalking. Because, we can't walk from, the Chinese restaurant to the corner to cross the street. We have to go in the middle of the street. So if something can be done in the after-school hours, when rush hour starts picking up and people are back and forth to the restaurants, it would be,
There's no time to stop, it's constant, it's all day long, no matter when. You have cars going over the double yellow
it's
island, that you have people crossing.
So you're talking North Street and 94.
yeah.
That whole section.
That whole corner there by the banks and the downtown shops, it's like playing bumper cars trying to get through there.
Absolutely.
Ditto to what Jimmy said.
So, and I just think if between 4 and 6, if there was a cop on that corner, it would probably change a lot of the habit of people.
A police officer on a all-terrain vehicle to go after the cars, because he won't be able to chase them.
Yeah, never knew a lot of that.
APD, run right there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm literally afraid to drive through at that hour because I don't want to hit anybody or anything.
It's his fault.
And on a side note, Joe, if you're looking at profile pictures, we may have to change your name to Babs, because that's what Barbara Streisand did when she was filming Young Phil. She would only let them film one side of her face, just saying.
Call you Babs.
Babs.
Thank you.
That's an image now that, just take that home,
It's
people.
stuck in my head right now.
Thank you, Susan, you made my night.
Babs Bucko.
Bucko?
Yes, I
Bucko.
appreciate that.
His
You're
friends
welcome.
call him BB.
And from now on, we're going to go in alphabetical order when they have questions. Chief, I'm glad you
Rescued us.
rescued us.
You rescued
We
him,
were
Babs.
talking about the proposed local law. Can you add anything? The woman that lives on 24th South Street, everything is pretty much in there. But if you could explain it just a little bit better than we can.
Well,
Basically,
she
leave
could
it,
just ask if dirt bikes. were-
Yeah, dirt bikes
So
and,
what vehicles are included in?
anything motor driven, dirt
Yeah.
bikes, ATVs, UTVs, golf carts,
Mhm.
aren't allowed on the roadway. I know the mayor had talked about, months ago, we had talked about golf carts. That was another concern, of golf carts just driving around the roadways.
Is there-
Obviously, everybody's concerned about the ATVs on 94 and 208.
Oh, they're on 208 too, don't feel like
No.
94 is privileged to them.
But every police department across the nation has been dealing with ATVs driving in the streets, trying to combat it. We've been working with all areas, trying to do our best. This is one approach that some departments have been proactively doing, is making a local law to restrict use of it other than your own property. Because right now, it's very outdated, the law. You can write tickets if they're on public highways and so forth, but there's a local law that a lot of people have been using, and that's what I drafted, kind of just to match the village. And there's also civil penalties for impound fees, that money usually deters people. Flamingo's been using this law, they've been successful with collecting some fines. I've talked to other chiefs who have very similar laws, and it's a deterrent. There's no local law right now about using an ATV in the village.
So my question would be, you're talking about motorized vehicles, not electrically charged vehicles, although golf carts are electrically charged, they're generally not motorized. So is there a minimum speed limit that a vehicle would be subject to this? So if you have, like, a golf cart can go what, 4 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour? You have these souped up bicycles that have electrical motor assist on them. They can go 20, 30 miles an hour in some instances. So would it cover things like that?
On the roadway or off the roadway you're talking about? Anything on the roadway is illegal.
Well, that we know.
If you're talking about, like, technically if they're on the sidewalk, they're illegal, like motorized bicycles, they should be on the shoulder. But I don't know if there's any vehicle and traffic law that would,
That does raise a good issue. Some of these electric bikes can go like 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I've seen them
So
go
can I
up on the
ride a bike?
sidewalk and back.
Yeah, or cut through parking
Yeah.
lots.
yeah, if they're on public highways and public parking lots, we can issue vehicle and traffic law citations for those, just like riding a bicycle. We could issue anybody 16 or older riding a bicycle without a headlight on, or riding a bicycle without a horn on it. Certain, doesn't happen, no, but those are enforceable laws that we could.
Right, like minimum number of reflectors. Bicycles are required to have a minimum number. My neighbor's kids almost got hit last night going past my driveway because they're riding bicycles without reflectors on them.
There's a lot of laws, as you know, there's a lot of laws in the book that just aren't enforced all the time, but when you do need to enforce it, it's there for us to use as a tool.
can you ride a bicycle on the sidewalk?
Not supposed to. But if you're talking about what age person,
Right,
if you're talking about a kid, you'd
that's
rather
another-
an 8-year-old kid riding the sidewalk than on the shoulder of 94. But it's primarily for pedestrians walking.
Okay. So as far as the all-terrain, you don't need a license, I guess, right?
None of those, you don't need like ATV, UTV?
Right.
No.
No, you can go
Just
and just
insured
buy
and
one.
registered.
Wow.
So you could be on a road, well,
Well, no,
not more.
you
Could
can't.
we-
It's-
Could we ask for a registry of bikes? You know, like if you're in the village and you live here and you plan to be youth, could we ask for people to register? Like a rental registry? Can we have a souped up vehicle registry,
Where would they ride it?
There's no place
That's
to
what we wanna
ride it
ask
in the
them.
village.
Well, you know, a lot of people claim that they're riding on green areas. And you would be aware of that if you saw tracks of something on green areas. I don't know how we can combat that, because it is usually behind someone's home. And it's private, it's village property. But if they get hurt, is the village liable? My guess would be yes. You know, let's not forget, last year, the young boy that took out his ATV, his quad maybe, it's the same thing. I'm not really on the rail trail, or with the future rail trail. And, I mean, thank God he's doing wonderful right now, but it was a tough go there for the family.
This local law is trying to combat two problems. The people on, the illegal ones on 94, we can impound. Basically, if we catch somebody riding an ATV on 94, 208, Decker Drive, we can impound it, it gets impounded, but the person could come later that day and pick it back up and ride it again. This makes it a civil penalty where they don't want to pay the $500, they gotta come to a board.
Oh, I think
There's
we all
no-
agree with
Agreed.
They don't have to,
that.
they just have to pay the impound fee for woodcock, the towing fee.
Right.
And there's things in there about noise. I haven't asked Chris, but, you know, there's a decimal reader that we could buy. I'm not sure if DPW has it. I was gonna ask John Terry.
Do we have a decibel reader?
There's different ones out there. You can buy cheap ones, or you can buy expensive ones, but it's something that maybe we could buy village-wide for noise and not just.
I think another question, and I'm glad you brought that up, is storage of the impound. I don't know how tight you are down there at the DPW, but it's our future plans to build a building down at the DPW. I know we have spoken about it, because we have a lot of equipment that needs to be covered in the wintertime. So we would have to take this into consideration because we are responsible for that. And how long do we have to keep the impound?
It all depends. If we need it for evidence, we keep it until we no longer need it. If we need it for the criminal case, we can hold it for a certain period of time, make sure it's not stolen, we don't need it for anything. If they pay the impound fee, they pay the towing fee, they can have it back after they pay those fines. And the court fines, they can have it back, you know, within a month or two. But normally what we did, like when we impound ATVs, we have nowhere to store it. We ask DPW to store it inside the garage. I can't expect, this law's on the book in case we need it. I don't expect next month we would be impounding 20 ATVs. It's just a tool to use in case we come across problems.
And there is an area on the one side of the salt shed, to the right of the salt shed.
Technically, it's not secure. They can
Yeah,
come
I was
right through the
gonna
gates and get
suggest
it.
put a fenced in
Yeah, it
area.
would have to be
It's not gonna
fenced.
cost a lot of money.
Right.
You don't
But we
need
could fence that
20
in.
by 20 or something.
And that would be
like
temporary until that building, because we know we have to do that. That's something that has to be done.
Yeah, it should be secured. If we're gonna get
Yes.
out, it should be secured.
Yeah, and in the past, we've never had a problem with DPW. We've put cars in there for short periods of time. Town of Bloomingdale has they have a garage where they have a couple bays in the past, we've used their facility, you know, because it's a garage, it's secure. So and if not, we can impound in other places, but we gotta start thinking for the future.
Similarly, Chief, I think if they don't pay the fine and everything, we can sell it at surplus, can we not?
I would imagine, I mean, after a period of time, we can make it a nuisance and.
Right. So we gotta find out. Do we come up with that time, or
I have to,
it's a law?
I have to look at it, but yeah, I have to read it again, but, because I don't know if it actually says a time, but it might. From talking to other chiefs, if someone's bike is impounded, they pay the $500, or whatever the fee is, to get their $250 bike out, because they want it. To them, it's more than, you know, some of these bikes on the road are worth only a few $100s, some are worth a lot more, but to them, they put a lot of time and effort into it, so And the board can use discretion on the impound fee. It's set at $500, but if you read the law, they can make an appeal, you know, maybe it's a one-time scenario where a father-son was riding something and the son got caught with it. The father took some sort of action against his kids and the board felt it was sufficient. They didn't have to charge the $500, but, you know.
Does that come to the village board, or does that come to the village court?
If it was tickets, you go to, but the impound, the $500 impound fee comes to the village board. You appoint somebody, that's the way other towns and villages do it, they appoint somebody on the board to be the hearing officer, and, you know, they can make an appeal to the village board member. The board member can bring it back to the board and make a decision.
Okay.
It's a civil penalty, that's why it's not going through the court.
I have one question, it's 500, like a set?
It's just a number that other,
Yeah.
other
Is that what
number.
Bloomingdale does?
It actually is what Bloomingdale uses, but many other departments are using very similar numbers.
I think it's a great,
Make it too high, they're not gonna care, they'll just go buy another one.
well, we just have to have a bigger impound area.
Well, the ATV just got, it's 50,000, right?
And this doesn't include the new ATV that you guys,
No, there's
because I
a
mentioned.
clause in there, DPW, police can use, you know, the village can use, and the school district can use certain things on their own property, and emergency services, and DPW can use equipment, obviously, in the course of their business. But there is a clause in there
Yeah,
about that.
page 4, exclusions.
Okay, another question that came up, the corner of North Street and 94. I guess it's, well, we have somebody present during the morning, I believe. Not every day, but
She is there now Monday through Friday morning and
Okay.
afternoon.
I'm sorry, so I'm staying correct.
We've been there, I've been there myself personally, and we've had an officer sign there for probably the last 2 weeks. There's been some issues, most days, I don't want to say most days, but a lot of the time there's not an issue. I don't know if it's just because we're present, we're standing there, or sometimes we have a car hidden. But we've been there probably 2 weeks, and I'm sure, the board talks to Linda often, I'm sure.
That's the crossing guard?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking between 4 and 7.
Yeah,
After.
Yeah.
later on in the day, so.
Okay, yeah, we haven't been there that time, but,
No.
yeah, I thought you were talking about, I'm sorry, I thought you were discussing about the school.
Is there a way that we could look into the possibility of those hours? It's crazy all day long.
Anything's possible if you want to spend them, if you want to spend the money, I mean.
Is there any kind of surveillance equipment that we can use there? Because what I'm terrified on when I'm over there to drive is that from coming towards the high school from 94, they use the lane that